For generations, the Eluan Confederacy had stood unchallenged in empires stretching across 1,000 star systems, built on conquest, domination, and the erasure of defiant species. But in the Hall of Prescience, high atop the crystal spires of Vethar Prime, their ancient prophets whispered of doom. Their violet eyes glowed, their tendrils trembled, and in trance they all spoke one name with horror: humanity. The High Lords dismissed the visions. Primitive apes? From a fringe planet drowned in its own noise and nuclear waste? Supreme! Strategist Valthex had sneered. What could they possibly do? The others laughed too, and the warnings were buried under war reports and empire expansion plans. Earth was logged as Category 4 threat level, unorganized but potentially annoying. A minor expedition was dispatched not for conquest, but for harvesting. But when their warships entered Sol System, the sky turned black dot at the edge of Mars, the Eluan fleet drifted in silence. Commander Zelva's eyes narrowed at the empty space ahead. Earth should have been vulnerable. Their satellites, their primitive stations, should have lit up like children's toys. Instead, what greeted them was a void. No signals. No beacons. Then came the sound, a slow pulsing thrum on every frequency. You were warned. The voice was calm, deep, human. The Eluan laugh again. Then their lead ship exploded, not from external weapons, but from within. Deck by deck, hull by hull, pressure doors ruptured like paper. Surveillance caught flickers, black figures moving through the walls. Not machines, not drones, humans in exosuits, but faster, sleeker, impossible. The Eluan flagship Vaskar. Eternum activated all defensive protocols. Still, the invaders moved like ghosts. One soldier recorded on a dying camera turned to the lens, eyes glowing through his helmet visor. Remember this. You were warned, but you laughed. Back on Vethar Prime, panic rippled through the Prue de Tour. Empire. They called for reinforcements. Hundreds of ships. Thousands of elite soldiers. The human system was quarantined, then besieged. But it didn't matter. By the time the Confederacy committed its full force to Earth, Earth was gone, not destroyed, moved like it had been cloaked, shielded, or simply erased from normal space. It started. One by one, across the galaxy, Eluan colonies went silent. Outposts vanished. Space stations found derelict, every living being missing. No signs of struggle, just eerie silence. In one transmission, a single word was scrawled in blood across a command deck wall: remember. The High Lords gathered again in the Hall of Prescience. This time they did not laugh. The oldest prophet, blind and trembling, fell to his knees. They warned us, and we spat on the warning. He wept. Now the darkness comes. Not a weapon. But them, the Deathworlders. Valthex slammed a fist against the table. We are Eluan. We do not cower before primitives. But his voice cracked mid-sentence as the lights dimmed. The sky above the Hall of Prescience, protected by 12 layers of planetary shields, turned black. Then came the scream of atmosphere being torn apart. Massive shadows descended. The blackness wasn't nightfall. It was human ships. And they weren't sleek and beautiful like Eluan vessels. They were monstrous, functional. Scars from battle still marked their hulls. Some were entire asteroids hollowed out and turned into carriers. A voice boomed across the empires. Network. You laughed. Human drop pods began raining down, piercing through shields like they weren't even there. The Eluan defenders tried to fight. Their plasma cannons lit up the skies, but the humans didn't just fight. They hunted in the ruins of the Grand Hall. Valthex crawled, half his face burned, eyes wide in disbelief. A boot landed near his head. Heavy. Human. He looked up. The human removed her helmet. A woman. Scarred, silent, eyes cold. You shouldn't have laughed, she whispered. He hissed, voice shaking. Why? Why are you doing this? She leaned down, her voice soft like a ghost memory. We didn't come to conquer. We came because we were warned too. Warned, she nodded, that if we ever left Earth, we'd become monsters. We tried peace. You sent war. She stood tall again. Behind her, the sky burned with Erluan ships falling. Now we show you what monsters look like. The Confederacy didn't fall in a day. It took 13 by the end. Not a single Erluan warship remained. The last broadcast from Vatar Prime was intercepted by neutral species. This is a message to all life. Do not provoke the humans. Do not laugh at the warnings. The sky turned black and never became blue again. Somewhere deep in the Orion Arm, a new power began to rise. They didn't build empires. They didn't raise flags, but when alien children asked their elders, "What species should we never anger?" the answer was always whispered with shivering reverence. The ones the prophets warned us about. The ones who turned the sky black. The end.